So Candace Owens interviewed Donald Trump, and she asked him a very interesting question. She asked him why he didn't pardon Julian Assange or Edward Snowden, the NSA whistleblower. Let's take a look at the clip.
I want to ask you, in terms of talking about this corruption, by the way, name that comes to mind in the news recently is Julian Assange. You know, he was exposing this corruption early on. He's had his life ruined because of it. It's a really sad story. Edward Snowden, I mean, think about that bravery. For me, I was quite young when that was going on. But, I mean, the idea of saying, hey, whistleblowing, actually, we've got some corruption going on. They're not being honest with the American people. You could have had a chance to pardon these individuals. Why decide not to in that moment?
You have two sides of it. In one case, you have like sort of a spy deal going on, and in another case, you have somebody that's exposing real corruption.
Right.
I feel a little bit, I won't say which one, but I feel a little bit more strongly about one than the other.
Right.
And you probably understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have done it, but I will say you have people on both sides of that issue, good people on both sides, and you have some bad people on one side. But I decided to let that one ride, let the courts work it out.
I want to ask you, in terms of talking about this corruption, by the way, name that comes to mind in the news recently is Julian Assange.
Okay, so some comments, just some thoughts. First of all, it's a very short clip. I must admit I have not seen the rest of it. I don't know if it's behind a paywall or something, but it's part of a larger interview that she did with Trump. And just to address this short clip. Now, Edward Snowden, he tweeted the clip. That's how I saw it. And he said body language. That's all he put. And I must assume that he's referring to Trump's body language, especially when he crosses the arms like that. Right now, I'm no expert on reading body language, but my understanding is that when someone folds their arms like that, they're being defensive, or they're trying to hide something, or not necessarily lying, but they're just defensive. They're uncomfortable with the question, maybe. I don't know what it is exactly. Someone who's more well-versed than me, please enlighten me. But he tweeted that in any case, which I found interesting. And just to analyze Trump's answer, if not his body language, well, he says that there are good people on both sides. I don't know what that means. I don't really see any good people on the side of, that's trying to persecute both Snowden and Assange. Maybe some misguided ones at best, and that's really giving the benefit of the doubt. But these issues are very clear. Snowden is exposing government wrongdoing, gross misconduct. The NSA spying. I love it when people reduce it to like spying on Americans. Well, no, the main target is not just Americans. It's it's pretty much everyone, which is the problem here, including. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole list of targets, but even foreign leaders. And so Edward Snowden exposed that to great personal detriment. He's living in Russia now. They actually forced him to go to Russia in a sense because he was taking a connecting flight to Latin America. And they canceled his passport while he was in Russia, so they can say, look, you see, he's a Putin puppet, and he's working with the Kremlin. All kinds of smears till the end of time. So that was a tactical move on their part. They canceled it on purpose while he was in Russia, and he's stuck there now. And again, I don't know. I don't want to say the word stuck necessarily. Russia's not exactly the worst place on earth. It's a pretty nice place, and he's gotten married now, and I think he has a child. So that's good for him. I think he has citizenship even now, and so. My point, though, is he probably misses home. So he's not been able to go back home since 2013. He'll probably never be able to go back home, which, of course, is, a huge personal loss. And Julian Assange, well, I don't need to go into Julian Assange. I've said more than enough about Assange, but he's exposed lots and lots of war crimes, crimes against humanity committed by the U.S., torture, you name it. And so these individuals, they've committed very valorous, heroic acts to... at extreme personal cost, right? One is in jail, the other one is in exile, effectively in exile. And so I don't really get what Trump is saying when there are good people on both sides of the issue. It's a very clear clear issue. And so the other thing is that, well, you're the guy who unsealed the indictment against Assange, right? So when people say pardon Assange, well, it's not like he's been convicted of a crime. He's been charged with the Espionage Act. You know, a publisher, a foreign journalist who doesn't work in the U.S., isn't from the U.S., didn't publish anything in the U.S., being charged as a spy. So, you know, that in of itself tells you everything, tells you that it's political. And so Trump is the one who unsealed the indictment. You know, people say, oh, well, Assange was working with Trump, he helped him win the election. Really? That doesn't look like it to me. Why is Trump, you know, trying to send him to jail then for, you know, up to 175 years? Again, the Trump administration unsealed the indictment against Assange. That is a fact. It's a fact. And so when Trump just sits there and he's like, well, you know, I don't even know who he's referring to. He says that he feels more strongly about one than the other. I honestly don't know who he's referring to. I think it's Snowden, but I'm just speculating at this point. I'm just speculating. But in any case, we shouldn't forget that it's Trump who had the indictment against Assange started, right? And of course, it's not just him, right? There's the whole intelligence agencies who are putting enormous pressure on them to do this. There's his entourage, Mike Pompeo, etc., etc. It's not him alone. It's a whole system of people. And so, I don't know what this body language means. Maybe you guys can enlighten me. I've read the comments. Again, these are just the comments, public comments that people have put underneath. Some people are saying that maybe it means Trump was saying that his hands were tied. I mean, I don't know if that's what it necessarily means. We're just speculating, aren't we? But I don't know. I feel like Trump he knows what's right and wrong. He's not stupid. And he did the wrong thing. You know, prosecuting Assange, there's no, oh, there are good people on both sides. No, that's a very clear attack on the press. Because it's not just about Assange, ultimately, is it? So he should have pardoned both of them. Instead, do you know who Trump pardoned? I mean, he pardoned, I think, about over 200 people, right? The president can give out these presidential pardons. And he gave out some, what was his name again? I think his name was Shalom Weiss or something. Yeah, he's some guy who was, I found out about this guy because I was looking into extraditions, right? He's been given the longest sentence by a U.S. federal court. They gave him 845 years. Yeah, 845 years. I mean, you know, you expect the U.S. federal courts to screw you, but that is just monumental. No one has ever been given that. So he was convicted for fraud, and that's one of the people that Trump pardoned. Now, I'm not saying he should have gone to jail for 845 years, but my point is, you know, it's Trump. It's Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if you could buy a pardon with Trump. You know, it's Trump. What am I supposed to say? The guy is for sale, you know, so if you pay the right amount of money, you know, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's getting a pardon, it can be arranged. So he doesn't exactly have a conscience that pricks him. But anyway, I'm not going to sit here and interpret his body language. I just wanted to show you this clip because I found it a bit interesting. And, you know, I just never understood people who expected Trump to pardon Assange. Yeah, it's something nice to hope for, but, you know, he's the guy who unsealed the indictment. And again, Assange didn't really commit a crime. He wasn't convicted of one at the very... so, I mean, at the very least, he's not committed a crime, but certainly he hasn't been convicted either. So, dropping the case is what you mean, really. You can't pardon someone unless they've been convicted. Assange has not been convicted. And even if he were, we all know it would be because the jury is made up of CIA spooks and so on. But yeah, I just want to show you this short clip. Make of it what you will.